Roads, bridges, and mass transport play a vital role in shaping the future of our nation. The Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, remains committed to enabling a comfortable life for Filipinos through safe, reliable, and resilient infrastructure, driving economic growth in pursuit of national development goals. To give us more updates on the government's infrastructure initiatives, we have with us tonight, in person, the Secretary of the Department of Public Works and Highways, Secretary Manuel Bonoan. Good evening, sir, and welcome to our program.
Good evening, Angelique, and thank you for the opportunity given us in the Department of Public Works and Highways to share with you kung ano yung ginagawa namin sa DPWH.
Opo. Well, natapos na po ang 2024 at bago po natin pag-usapan yung mga natapos na proyekto, ano po yung mga pangunahing proyekto ng inyong pong ahensya na medyo hindi pa ho tapos, although nasimulan na ho?
Well, marami itong mga ginagawa namin in 2024. In fact, let me just start. Actually, sabihin ko na lang yung mga major projects that have been started in 2024 na ginawa na namin na natapos din. No? There are two significant projects that I want to share with you. Yung kagaya ng napakalaking tulay na ginawa namin dito sa may Pangil Bay Bridge. Now, this is a 3.7-kilometer bridge that is connecting actually the province of Misamis Occidental and Lanao del Norte. This has been a long-awaited bridge. Well, I must admit that this bridge was started in the past administration, but naantala ito because of pandemic, so they were able to construct only about 30% of it. So this is part of the major projects na sinagawa na under this administration. And finally, this bridge is one of the longest bridge that we have constructed in this administration, Pangil Bay Bridge. Very much awaited bridge. Well, in terms of yung calamity resiliency program, the President also natapos din namin in 2024 yung tinatawag namin yung flood risk resilience program namin dito sa Lower Pampanga. And I think this is a flood control project that would address yung mga flooding problems na rin in Lower Pampanga, like yung sa Smoan, Macabebe, Masantol, Santo Tomas. So ito mga ito. And there are other projects that are now being implemented in 2024. Kagaya nun, we're continuing with the construction of the expressway that will be connecting Tarlac to Cabanatuan. And we are hoping that it will be completed this year. No? This is a 40-kilometer stretch of expressway that will enhance the travel interconnectivity between these provinces. Magandang proyekto ito, no? So there are many things, including the preparations of yung mga flood control programs in Metro Manila. Sinasagawa pa rin namin tuloy-tuloy sa 2024. So aside from that, of course, 2024 we have a lot of local projects that we continue to implement. The rehabilitation of some to mga national roads, local roads, and flood control programs all over the country. So marami yung sinasagawa namin.
Yes, actually, nung bago po natapos yung taon, ay siyempre pinirmahan po ng Pangulo yung pong General Appropriations Act, ano po, yung pong ating national budget for 2025. And yun nga po, yung budget po ng DPWH ay pumapangalawa sa DepEd. Okay, pero yun na nga ho, nagkaroon din po ng mga konting changes, hindi po ba? So, 26 billion po yung nakaltas.
Yes.
Ano ho ito? Anong epekto po nito dun po sa magiging performance ng DPWH?
Well, let me put it this way, actually, kasi the budget of the department that we submitted under the President's program was almost about 900 billion, no? But in the deliberation of the budget, it went through the lower house and the Senate, and afterwards there was a bicameral committee, and after the bicameral committee, nadagdagan ng DPWH ng another 288 billion. So nagiging yung budget ng DPWH is almost 1 trillion, over a trillion.
Yes.
And this is going to be the biggest budget of the department
Ever.
So we were really happy that this kind of a budget was entrusted to the department. But nevertheless, I think the president wanted to look at it from the point of view that he wants actually that all the projects that are being included in our budget are actually supportive to the 8-point socio-economic agenda of the president. So he went painstakingly looking at all the projects and see what are these important. After scrutinizing all these projects, and I think the president looked at it, and there are some projects that we thought altogether that can be set aside for the time being.
Not scrapped completely. Not just
there are projects that were scrapped completely. That's like what the president vetoed, which is about 26 billion pesos. No?
Kasi sabi po, may mga unimplementable or hindi pa po implementable.
Well, yes, there are projects that are not ready to be implemented, and there are projects that are unusual, and alam mo na, and I think
I like your smile.
and there are projects also that sabi nga it needs a lot of preparation, so to speak. So it may not be practicable actually to start the projects anyway. So in the meantime, I think we can set aside for now, and probably that it can be reintroduced sometime when ready to be implemented. So ganon yan nangyari. So 26 billion out of the original 1.3 trillion yata that was
Opo, may mga flood control projects po ba na
there were flood control projects.
Pasok dito sa 26 billion po na natanggal.
Well, it's not really flood control projects. These are what we called actually a little hindi masyadong maintindihan na projects. Kasi
medyo vague, ano po?
Medyo vague. And we thought it will be a little difficult for us to implement it without specific infrastructure programs into it. So, and this is wanted to clarify with some of the proponents actually kung ano ba ito.
Opo. Meron mga alternative projects po ba tayo o programs para ma-mitigate o mabawasan po yung impact sa pagtanggal nga po nitong mga medyo vague na maybe flood control projects or unimplementable projects?
Well, I think it will not affect actually the entire program of this administration for 2025 because there is still a lot of other projects that would complement actually what the objective of these projects would take. No? So maraming projects. You can just imagine that you will still have a trillion worth of projects to implement in 2025. That's a lot.
That's quite a lot.
This is going to be the biggest project. Still is the biggest project ever since.
Meron po bang specifics na or specific directives ang Pangulo na dapat niyo pong unahin ngayong 2025?
Well, the President has actually emphatically mentioned to us actually that we have to implement, first of all, yung mga flagship projects that are aligned. These are the flagship projects that were identified earlier during this administration that will support actually the 8-point socio-economic agenda of the President. So we have to focus on the implementation of these projects, and this is one of the reasons why the President has to scrutinize the budget because he wants all these flagship projects to start, Well, he was saying actually that he wants actually these projects to be completed sana all the way during his administration and things like this. So, marami kasi. There are big projects, so to speak, that we want to implement.
For
Actually.
example po, anong...
For example, this year, we are going to start the construction of Bataan-Cavite Interlink Bridge. Now, this is the bridge that will cut across Manila Bay.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
Ang haba nun, di po ba?
That's about 32 kilometers of a bridging program. And this is going to be once constructed, once finished. This will be the second longest bay bridge in the world.
Oh, that would be something,
Yeah.
pag nagawa.
Yeah. And then there's another big project that we also want to start. This has also been a long-awaited bridge project that will interconnect Iloilo, Guimaras to Negros. So you can just imagine the two big islands in the Visayas interconnected with this bridge. This is also about 37 kilometers of bridge, and it's going to be a very
ambitious.
significant bridge, significant project.
Alright, isa po sa mga proyekto na inyo pong sisimulan sa taong ito and maybe in the next couple of months ay yung rehabilitation. Sabi nga nila, total rehabilitation ng EDSA para ma-improve po ang riding quality ng ating mga kababayan. Yan po ang ating pag-uusapan sa pagbabalik ng in-person.
Ating bibisitahin ang isang modelong lungsod na bagamat may kaparehan ng pangalan ay nagawa pa ring maitampok ng buong husay ang kanilang katangi-tanging pagkakakilanlan.
Kanilang ipinagmamalaki sa mundo ang saganang ekonomiya at mga industriya at ang kanilang patuloy na paglingap sa kulturang kinagisnan at pamilyang pinagmulan.
Sama-sama nating tuklasin ang mga likhang yaman ng lungsod ng Naga, probinsya ng Cebu. Dito sa Sagisag Kultura TV.
Nagbabalik po ang in-person. Kasama natin ngayong gabi si Secretary Manuel Bonoan ng DPWH. Okay, ito po muna, puntahan muna natin ito pong 20 million peso Angat Farm to Market Road. How will the completion of this Angat Farm to Market Road impact the daily lives of farmers and residents in the area? Alam po natin, pag pinag-usapan natin ng farm to market, that will impact on the price, napapababa niya ang presyo ng mga produktong agrikultura.
Yes, these are the type of projects. Itong farm-to-market roads in Angat is just one of the many farm-to-market roads that we are implementing in collaboration with the Department of Agriculture. Ito yung maraming programs na we call it in the Convergence programs between the DPWH and the Department of Agriculture. Kasi kami we have been asked to implement all these farm-to-market roads all over the country. And this is actually in conjunction with the food security program of the government. No? We need the farm-to-market roads for para mas mabilis yung pagdala ng mga ani sa for agriculture to the market. No?
Yes.
Otherwise, kasi sa ngayon, yung mga iba kasi kinakarga pa ng kabayo, kinakarga ng mga kalabaw, and so forth and so on. So this is a big program that is being implemented by the Department of Agriculture and also even by the Department of Agrarian Reform, I understand. So marami itong farm-to-market roads.
With the help of DPWH.
DPWH, we are the ones implementing the construction of these farm-to-market roads.
Kasi alam niyo, Secretary, kung masyadong bako-bako ang daan, yung pong kamatis galing sa farm, magiging tomato sauce na po pagdating niya dun sa kanyang destinasyon. And speaking of bako-bako, balikan po natin yung nabitin nating tanong tungkol sa EDSA. When we say total rehabilitation, what kind of work are we talking about?
Well, ito na. I want to put it into proper perspective. Bakit kami gagawan ng total rehabilitation of EDSA?
Yes.
Well, I'm sure that everybody is aware na yung for the longest time, kasi ang ginagawa sa EDSA is just yung mga reblocking here and there, reblocking every weekend. So every weekend na lang yan for the longest time. So I think the President says, bakit puro ganyan na lang ginagawa? Why don't we just one time rehabilitate EDSA and put it into, reconstruct it into a more permanent thoroughfare para mas maganda naman yung kung sa ngayon siguro naman napapansin natin kung ikaw dumadaan sa kalsada, halos hindi ka makapag-text dahil kaldag ka sa roughness.
Umaalon-alon.
So, this is one of the things that we want to rehabilitate EDSA into a world-class thoroughfare naman. Because this is the main thoroughfare in EDSA. And we want it to be done permanently. So, we are going to reconstruct namin yung mga weekend sections sa concrete. We will replace it with another concrete. And on top of that, we will put a smooth asphalt surface para smoother yung traveled way. So, and by that, I am sure that it will also help facilitate yung traffic congestion kasi mas mabilis ka lumago.
Secretary, maganda po yung plano na yan, ano? Sementado, and then merong asphalt sa ibabaw. Pero in the past, I would remember na parang sa sobrang nipis po nung asphalt, konting ulan po, natutunaw agad. Ano ho yung mga ginagawa ng DPWH ngayon para talagang ma-ensure natin yung dekalidad, pang matagalan, ano ho, na rehabilitation?
I can assure you. I think there are many innovative or new technologies, asphalt technologies that we can use now. Some stronger type of asphalt pavements that had been used. We call it yung SMA asphalt, which is the stone mastic asphalt. This is it will be susceptible also to water drainage na hindi nababaha. We are
nalublob po sa tubig.
Yes, okay lang yon. But we are also going to address yung mga sections na binabaha ngayon. The other thing that I want to discuss, to talk about, because I think along EDSA, we will be rehabilitating Guadalupe Bridge
Yes,
pala.
I was going to ask you about that. Ano ang plano natin? At kailan? Kailan kami dapat mag-abang na magdumaan doon para hindi maperwisyo?
For one thing, we have to rehabilitate EDSA. I mean, yung Guadalupe Bridge along EDSA.
Di ba nagawa na natin yan kamakailan?
Especially yung the main structure in EDSA is good.
Okay.
Pero there are two structures alongside the main bridge. Ito yung kailangan namin kumpunihin. Ito yung kumpunihin namin ito. We have to replace that.
Oh, sorry po.
We have to replace.
Are we still able to go use the bridge even if it's being repaired?
Yes. The main bridge will be used. It's not going to be intact. Pero yung dalawang structures alongside will have to be replaced and reconstructed. But before we do that, we are going to build what we call the toll bridges. southbound and northbound para at least meron pa rin madaanan ng mga biyahero natin dyan.
So it's additional,
additional bridge. Detour bridge muna. Detour bridge. And the President also wants it to become more permanent eventually, no?
Yes, why not?
Why not? Sabi ko, yeah, we are looking at it.
Medyo mahalin po yung mga real estate dyan sa...
Exactly.
Mahal.
But like the rehabilitation of EDSA naman kasi, we will be coordinating with the agencies like Metro Manila Development Authority, local governments, and come up with a implementation program that will hasten the implementation and to see to it that there will be the least disturbance to traffic in the process.
Okay, what about your plans for C5? Nalala ko noon ang ginawa ang C5, parang walang dumadaan halos.
Ngayon, no?
But now, no, talagang major yan, traffic.
C5 to me, we are inviting the private sector. Actually, perhaps they wish to put up another skyway on top of C5.
Can we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think kasi it is a more kasi on grade you have very little to improve actually the capacity, but just like dito sa ginawa ng skyway that connects from Magallanes all the way to Balintawak, so you can see the impact of that skyway. So sabi ko nga, we are inviting the private sector to look into this possibility that they can also construct a skyway.
Do you think this will materialize anytime soon?
We just hope, and I am trying actually to entice actually the private sector. So, we'll see.
Alright, sandali ho, bibiting ko muna tong section na to, ating usapan, dahil tayo po'y magbabalik. Marami pa tayong pag-uusapan sa pagpapatuloy ng in-person.
Pagkakataon nyo ng maglingkod para sa bayan. Inaanyayahan namin ang lahat ng mga individual na may talento at dedikasyon na mag-apply sa aming mga bukas na posisyon. Para sa Sales and Marketing Unit, Marketing Specialist, Sales Account Specialist, Sales Traffic Assistant, News Division and Merchandising Unit, Graphic Artist. Ipadala ang iyong resume sa hireme@ptni.gov.ph.
Pag-usapan natin ito pong mga flagship projects. Although you touched on some of them, what makes a project flagship? Bakit po ganun ang tawag doon?
Flagship projects, these are the major projects that had been put into the program to support nga yung socio-economic agenda of the President that will provide to support food security, yung interconnectivity, and provide shared transportation all over the country. So these are the flagship projects that included into the 186, if I'm not mistaken, 186 flagship projects under the medium-term development plan, no? And the 30 is just part of the 70 flagship projects with the Department of Public Works and Highways that are now either ongoing or under project preparations at this time. So marami ito. It includes mga major roads, major bridges, major flood control projects all over the country.
When you say water resources, ito po yung mga basins?
Flood management.
Ayun,
flood management programs.
Aha, opo. And may digital din po, infra?
Digital infra is with the DICT.
Yes, opo.
But of course, we are coordinating also with them to provide them access to along national roads para yung pagtayo ng mga towers and and so forth and so on. So we are also in convergence with them actually.
Lalo pa yung mga areas na talagang hindi naaabot,
Yes,
ano,
yes.
madaling maabot. And as far as like helping DepEd as well with the
DepEd.
structure of schools.
Yes. DepEd. Actually, we are the construction arm of the Department of Education because we are the ones building the schools and the other institutions like yung colleges, universities. Kami rin ang gumagawa. And of course, we are also kami rin ang gumagawa ng mga hospitals with the Department of Health and all other public buildings as well. No? So there's a lot of things they were doing.
Yes, po. As far as yung pong projects natin, ano, kamusta po yung mga partnerships natin with the private sector?
Well, I think that's a good point that you have raised, actually, Angelique. We continue to invite and yung participation of the private sector in many of the projects that are actually attractive to private sectors for their investments to participate. No? Kagaya ng mga expressways. Expressways, I think, there are two major players in the Philippines. No?
Yes, that's right.
Yung kay Mr. Ramon Ang and kay Mr. Pangilinan. So all these things. And we are also trying to invite, because of the opening of the law for the private sector to come in, we are also trying to invite even foreign investors to come in.
Yes.
But let me just point out that, of course, there are many projects that are online, that the private sector will be undertaking. Let's say, for example, the extension of the Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway.
Yung T-Plex po ba to?
T-Plex.
Oo. Hanggang
T-Plex.
saan na po aabot yan?
T-Plex. So from Rosario, it will extend now all the way to La Union, all the way to San Juan. So that's another 50 kilometers. And then after that, it may go all the way to Lawag. So I think these are things. And in the south, dito naman, the San Miguel Corporation is now undertaking yung TR4, which is from Santo Tomas, Batangas, all the way to Lucena. That's already, I think, about almost 70 kilometers. And that is also a game-changing expressway project once completed. And then after that, San Miguel Corporation will continue to extend the expressway from Lucena all the way to Sorsogon. So that's on the south. So these are the things that are online actually for the private sector to come in. And there are other potential areas where we also need now expressways developments, especially in major areas like Cebu, Davao, Negros. So all these things are open for private sector initiatives.
Opo, pag pumasok po ang private sector, anong usually yung arrangement natin? Sila po ba yung nagpopondo po nito, ng project?
On their own. On their
So
own.
no government outlay?
Well, the only government participation here is actually in terms of roads. The government has to acquire the roads because these are assets of the government,
Yung
to
pong,
speak.
right of way po
Right
ba to?
of way. Right of way.
Kumusta po yung natin, yung progress natin sa mga right of way? Because sometimes, syempre, there's resistance, lalo na po yung mga communities na matagal na hong naninirahan doon.
Yeah, well, we continue actually to alam mo, one of the namin sa right of way is actually especially in the rural areas is the documentation issues. That because even if you've been staying in that property for the longest time, but I cannot also
Prove it na it's
you
yours.
cannot also pay you immediately because the government has to have a document to show that you can transfer it to me and things like this.
Ownership, ano
But
po?
we continue to assist them naman in the process. So, yun ang pan namin sa right of way acquisition.
Okay, ano naman po yung mga current priority projects ng DPWH pagdating po sa mga, kanina you talked about schools, you also talked about hospitals. What about evacuation centers? Kasi
Yes.
madalas ho yung eskwelahan, di ba?
Yeah.
Nagdo-double up as an evacuation center.
This is a new law. There is a new law that the President has just signed this bill for the construction of more resilient evacuation centers na hindi lang yung evacuation so to speak, but I think
Yes.
it's more comfortable to provide. Actually, hindi lang naman yung just
And
put
with-
people there and then sabi nga ni Presidente, just a more comfortable area naman because you're just transferring them from their houses to temporarily to an evacuation area.
Traumatic already.
It's traumatic already. So sabi niya, you have to provide them more comfort. And so yun ang this is just a new law, and we are just in the process of discussing with the implementing rules and regulations and what types of buildings that we are going to construct.
Ayan.
Marami ito.
When you say more comfortable, more comfort rooms din po. Mga restrooms, ano?
Exactly. You provide them also the kitchen, you provide them a clinic area, and yung amenities, just like, it's not like home, but I think it's close to
An improvement po
naman.
from
Yan ang gusto ni Presidente.
Okay.
So that at the end, sabi niya, we would like to get away from the practice na parati ng eskwelahan ang pinupuntahan natin na di-disturb yung educational momentum ng mga pupils and things like this. So, ito yun, this is a new law, Angelique.
Ayan po. Sige po. At marami pa po tayong pag-uusapan. Marami pa kaming tatanungin kay Secretary Bonoan. Huwag po kayong aalis at magbabalik ang In Person.
May mga nagsasabi na ang Pilipinas daw is a rich country pretending to be poor. Siguro hindi tama yun. We are actually a rich country which do not realize that we are rich. Mga kaibigan, samahan niyo po ako ng ating Tuklas Yaman.
At tayo po ay nasa huling bahagi na ng ating programa ngayong gabi. Kasama natin si Secretary Bonoan ng DPWH. Okay, sa kabila ng malaki na pong budget ng DPWH na lagpas 1 trillion pesos, actually it's 1 trillion 7 billion pesos more or less, meron pa rin ho tayong mga ginagawang ugnayan or pakikipagtulungan na hinihingi natin galing sa ibang mga bansa, mga gobyerno, government, and other agencies. Can you tell us more about this?
Yes, there is a big portion of the budget, especially Angelique. Dito sa mga implementation of the flagship projects, most of them are actually being implemented through, we call it official development assistance. Official development assistance can come into bilateral agreements with countries, directly with other countries, like, for example, the Japan International Cooperation Agency, from the JICA or the government of Japan, which is now actually financing major projects in the country all over, Marami. Ever since naman, as far as I can remember, 50 years ago, nandito na yung Japanese government assisting us. Now, meron din ngayon yung Korean government through KOICA, Korean Official Development Assistance din, who is now financing or giving financial assistance to several projects now in the country. So, Japan, Korea. To some extent, there are still projects that are being implemented with financial assistance with the Chinese government. So okay yun, so maraming ganon. And there are also major financial assistance coming from multilateral financing agencies like the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank. So ito yung malalaki. Like right now, the Asian Development Bank is financing actually yung Bataan Cavite Interlink Bridge, no? And they're also going to finance partly yung an expressway parallel to the South Expressway from Calamba to Sucat.
Uy, maganda yan.
So,
kasi parang punong-puno na po ang SLEX.
yes, exactly. So we will bid it out this year.
Saan po dadaan yan? Sa
From
Laguna Lake?
Calamba, along the lakeshore.
Along the lake na po.
Along the lakeshore. Lakeshore. Lakeshore.
Medyo lumulubog din po yung ibang areas.
It's going to be partly elevated and partly on ground.
Ground level.
Ground level. So this is going to be also a big project.
Kailan
that's
po
going-
ito magsisimula?
This year.
This year?
Yes.
And pag ganyan po, medyo mahaba po yan, ano? Mahaba-habang proseso.
Mahaba rin yung project na yan. I think we'll just right. I think we have 3 more years to go and we hope we can
Can you complete it in 3 years?
substantially complete it siguro for marami mahaba ng konti.
Actually,
It's about
we
30 kilometers actually.
Po, Secretary, we really need more access roads to connect the southern part of
exactly.
Luzon to Metro Manila.
Yes.
And again, the northern part. Ano? Sa north po, ano naman ang mga plano niyo bukod sa existing NLEX that will connect Pampanga and Metro Manila?
Well, in the north, I think yan yung mga projects natin. As I mentioned earlier, yung
T-Plex extension.
T-Plex extension, yung widening ay yung rehabilitation of Manila North Road, yung malaki, widening also Manila North Road all the way. And plus yung, of course, yung expressway that will connect Tarlac and Cabanatuan and things like this. So, and there are many other projects also in the Cagayan Valley that we are now implementing. There are major bridges in Cagayan and Isabela that are being constructed now.
Pero ito pong this last year, di po ba, naalala nyo, in a span of 4 weeks, di ba, nabanggitin ni Presidente ito, 6 na malalaking bagyo ang humagupit sa ating bansa at marami pong mga tulay na talagang napinsala. Kamusta po yung rehabilitation din po ng mga dati na nating mga tulay?
23 days to be exact in 6 consecutive
Was it 23
successive
days only?
6 successive typhoons visited
Oh.
this area dito sa mostly in Luzon.
Yes.
Luzon. And well, almost every other typhoon, the President went to inspect all the damages in all these areas. And altogether, he wanted to see that these are going to be rehabilitated. Unfortunately, it happened during the almost the end of the year. So now that we have a new budget, then as the President has instructed us, we now have to start or continue now the rehabilitation, reconstruction of the damaged infrastructure facilities now. Kasi yes, as you mentioned, marami din yung mga tulay, kalsada, mga flood control projects na nasira actually kasi successive eh. Now, so yun ang gagawin namin actually within the year. Ang masakit lang ng konti ngayon dito is that hindi pa rin tumitigil ang pag-ulan dito sa Bicol and Visayas and Mindanao naman because of the shear line phenomenon. So marami rin nasisira na naman. So
Speaking of Bicol, di po ba mahaba pa rin ng traffic dahil po dun
yes,
sa
because of
construction?
the continuous rains and the damage that has been inflicted in the major roads actually. So this is we are putting a lot of pandito emergency repairs and attention para makuha yung mobility and traffic. Especially nagkaroon ng talagang antalan ng traffic nung almost Christmas Day.
Yes.
So medyo
malaking rin po sakripisyo sa ating mga kababayan.
Unfortunate, but I think we will try to to put the rehabilitation more resilient para makakuha natin itong mga climate change that we're
Like the
talking about.
weather
Yes.
changing, opo, and the climate changing.
And the climate change weather.
All right. So, Secretary, can we ask for your final words
Oh,
for our
well,
audience, please?
well, first of all, I think thank you very much, Angelique, for giving us this opportunity to have a dialogue with you with regard to the programs and projects of the Department of Public Works and Highways. As the President wants us to implement the flagship projects under the Build Better, More and Faster scheme, we can assure our viewers and the Filipino people that the department will do its best actually to implement all these projects in the most professional and the most transparent manner. But as I say this, we continue to solicit, of course, the cooperation, indulgence, and the support of our Filipino people in the process of implementing all these projects, because at the end of the day, this has to be a collaborative effort of all of us for the economic development of our country. Maraming salamat po for the pagkakataon.
At maraming salamat. The pleasure is ours, Secretary
Thank you so much.
Bonoan. Ayan, ang ating pong naging panawin, Secretary Manuel Bonoan ng DPWH. Under the government's Build Better More program, the Department of Public Works and Highways will continue to expand infrastructure development, bridging the country's connectivity gap. This initiative will extend beyond just building by integrating sustainability, resiliency, and advanced technology into infrastructure projects. At yan po ang tunay na mukha sa likod ng mga balita at mga isyong pinag-uusapan. Matapang na humarap at nagpakilala. Ako po si Angelique Lazo at ito ang In Person.